Bill, will it be safe to do jiu-jitsu when they open all the places back up? Or will it be dangerous to go because, the virus is still out there? Guys, my name is Bill Jones. I'm the head instructor of top-level martial arts in beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. Black belt under Master Pedro Sauer. You're watching Professor's Corner. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. I appreciate all of that. It really helps the channel. We've been growing. We're trying to get to 1,000 viewers, so that'd be awesome if we get to 1,000 subscribers. So help out, share it, and give your thoughts. The more you comment on things, the faster that goes. All right, so let's start this whole discussion off by saying I am not a doctor. I am not proposing to be a doctor. I am not giving you medical advice. So let's start right there. Do not take anything I say as legitimate medical advice because I am not a physician. I am not in charge of your care. Talk to your doctor if you want to know exactly what your particular risk is. All right. That said, so let's look at what's happened so far and where we are in things. As of the time of filming this, it is the middle of April, and in Ohio, that's all I can really speak to. I'm not in other states or other countries. In Ohio, we have been closed for about 6 weeks. It was mandated. We closed 1 week before it actually just got, mandated by the governor. And then stay-at-home orders were issued after that. So everything's mandated until the 1st of May, at which point we're going to get updates. And I believe probably that it will be mid to end of May before we are allowed to reopen in some form or fashion. I have nothing to back that up, so hey, maybe it'll be earlier than that. I'm hoping it won't be any later than that. So when you come back, let's understand. Let's take a term that everybody's been using and understand it better. If you don't understand it, or we'll just make sure we're all on the same page, and that's flatten the curve. The idea behind flattening the curve was that, if X number of people are going to get sick at this one time, it's going to create a giant spike. And during that giant spike, we will overwhelm the healthcare system. And there'll be too many people sick at one time to be cared for correctly. And the healthcare system would be overwhelmed, and more people would die as a result. Because what they saw was happening in Italy is everybody was sick at one time. And they were having to make decisions about okay, we're not going to treat anybody over the age of 80 or something like that, right? And that's a terrible, horrible, tragic situation that we didn't want to find ourselves in. So remember that. It was about not getting sick at the same time. So the goal was to make the curve a little flatter, but that brings it out further. So it's like Play-Doh. You have this amount of Play-Doh, and you can build it into a spike, but if I take it and smoosh it, it's still the same amount of Play-Doh, it's just smooshed out. And that's what we're doing. We're taking that curve, we're smooshing it out, and it's just making it a little flatter. I think the misconception that people have is that the curve and flattening the curve was about not getting sick. It's not really what it was about. The flattening of the curve was about reducing the number of people who get sick at one time. Herd immunity requires that people get sick, and that's something people don't want to hear, but it's the truth. Develop the antibodies, enough people develop the antibodies, then the disease can't really transmit itself through a bunch of people. That's the idea. That's why every year the flu is kind of a different strain. So with that understood, are you going to be safe let's pretend that tomorrow everything opened back up, okay? That's just hypothetical. It's not going to happen, but let's hypothetical. Would you be safe coming to jiu-jitsu? Well, at this point, 0.1% of the entire United States population has had it, by the numbers that we know now. There's this strong belief that more people have had it already, and that's why they're developing antibody tests. But again, let's just go with the numbers we have. 0.1%. So it's already a very small number of people who have it or get it, just kind of like the flu. And I'm not saying it's like the flu. Let's be real clear. I'm just saying that's similar in number. So what does that mean for you? Are you likely to get it when you come to jiu-jitsu? I would say you're as likely to get it when you come to jiu-jitsu as you are when you're out and about around people anyway. People are coughing, people are sneezing, people are moving. In jiu-jitsu, people are on top of each other. You're right in each other's face, sweat's dripping into eyes. Certainly, that is going to make for a higher chance of transmitting a disease or an illness if there is one that's transmitted in those ways. So, are you safe? I mean, are you ever safe? I guess that's how I look at things. And this is why even if I didn't open a school, even if I didn't own one, I would go to jiu-jitsu at my soonest convenience because that's just how my mentality is. Now, if you have a reason to be overly frightened of this, maybe you live with people who are at high risk. Maybe you are yourself at high risk. Maybe you're immunocompromised. Maybe you just have a fear of diseases. Then you might want to take extra precautions. You might want to wait a little bit longer. You might want to wait till there's a vaccine. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that what I would do, me personally, I would keep going to jiu-jitsu. Of course, if I started to feel, and I understand that this illness it's wacky. It seems to react in different people different ways. Some people have, like Gracie just got over it, and it's in Jiu-Jitsu Times or something, and he says it's no joke. Rand Paul had it and didn't even experience symptoms. So it's a weird thing. It's a really weird thing. So you might get other people sick and not even know it. That's kind of why we're doing this whole flatten the curve thing, right? It's a weird disease that we don't understand that well. But that said, if I started feeling ill, I would certainly take time off of jiu-jitsu. And with this particular illness, I'd probably make that 2 weeks, just because that seems to be what everybody's recommending for quarantine time. So if I was training and I started feeling a little bad, I would first let people know that I was sick so that they can monitor themselves a little bit, and then I would take 2 weeks off. Not come in, not do anything. That's just how I would handle it personally. How should you handle it? I'm going to say do what you want. Jiu-jitsu is your journey, right? And this is a very interruptive time, and many people out there, I know my students are helping me out. I know a lot of you who are watching, you're helping your schools out, maybe even still paying your membership just to make sure there's a school to go back to. And that's awesome of you if you're doing that. And, if you're scared to go back, then wait. That's all I can say. Just wait. If you're hesitant, wait until you see the curve dropping a little more. I think there's a good chance that it's going to come in waves, more than a big spike, and that's still better than having that big spike. Right? Those waves are going to happen, and the healthcare system won't be dramatically overwhelmed. Of course, there's areas in the country where it's worse than others. New York is extremely population dense. San Francisco, LA, places like that. I'm in more of a rural area, so it's not really happening like that here, thankfully. And I think partially probably due to the restrictions that we have. So I want to see them lifted. As a business owner, I need to see them lifted, but I'm also not in a hurry for it. I understand, I care, right? Where's my line? The line is when it starts to get to a point where I may have to, decide whether or not I can keep my business open or not. Fortunately, my members have been awesome about it, and they're being patient with me. All right, so where does that leave us, though? This is a weird situation, and I think that's just what we can say, guys. We're never safe. We are never safe on this earth. We are on a molten ball of magma surrounded by a thin, crispy crust, flying, spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, going around a giant ball of gas and fire in outer space. There's asteroids zooming by, there's diseases, there's animals that want to eat you. There are all kinds of dangers on this earth. And I choose, personally, not to live my life in fear. We are all going to die at some point, and I don't want to make others sick. I also need to live a life that's full and happy and healthy. And part of that, for me, includes jiu-jitsu. So I know what I'm going to do when the time comes. I'm going to come right back to the school. I'm going to start training again, and I'm going to be happy. If I feel like I'm getting sick, I'll take time off again, and that's just how I'll handle it. So I want to know how you guys are going to handle it, though. Are you going to go right back? Are you a little bit worried, nervous at all? Just curious. I've heard people talking about it, and I just want to get your feelings for it. My friends, thanks for watching. Sorry it took me a whole week to get back to you on this. Have a great one.